I was raised Baptist.
You're
Jesus was the way, the truth, and the life. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. And so, but all it was what we saw now. Human beings were the highest pinnacle of creation. And, that's where
Michael
I was
Key
coming
Am.
from. And then after I had these experiences, of course, I went to a mental health professional. Um, and of course, the late Bud Hopkins regrets me, and Dr. Gene Mundy to let me know that I wasn't really off the wall. No, I had no, I'm glad because when I tell some of the stories, it would be so easy for people to say, "Oh, come on, you saw that on television. Come on, you saw what is it?" So it worked out in a way, as the intelligence of the universe does.
And then you've written several books, but the one that we're talking about tonight is called Initiation. Tell me about that title. What does that mean?
Well, I think that those of us who have had these experiences and think of them in a positive light, I think it is a kind of initiation because there comes a responsibility with it, I believe. And so, just as if you were joining the Masons or you were joining an exclusive kind of group of folks, and the priesthood, if you will, they're, maybe so much not bowed, which we could look at it that way, but there's some hoops you have to jump through to see if this is really, really, really what you want to do. And so that's where I got the title. And for many of my colleagues, not all, because some people have had terrible things happen with these star visitors, and I can't even fathom. But for me, there was some post-traumatic stress, and there still is. But I view my experiences, outside of the birth of my daughter, as one that, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
When you look at the Bible, Reverend, and you put in, instead of angels and things like that, you add them and think about extraterrestrials and UFOs, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, and you and I talked about that years ago when you had me on the show. Yes, because nowhere in the Bible, and I'm glad you brought that up because we can talk about anything you want. We don't have to just focus on the book. I'm sure we'll get to it. Yeah, if you put the word, you can put star person, extraterrestrial, also, whatever you put there, because angels were messengers. And so it just makes a lot more sense. It doesn't take away, at least in my mind, from the prophets or the life of Jesus or what have you. What's interesting is that nowhere in the Bible does it say these beings had wings. Now, I want to be clear to the listeners. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as angels. Please hear it. I'm just saying that I believe that our ancestors were trying to tell us in the vernacular of their day that these beings could fly. So they could be, they would say clouds. They came on the clouds or the chariots. Or what they were using the words that the vocabulary that they, the limited vocabulary that they had, dealing, to express what they saw, the technology and the high strangeness. But for me, it makes perfect sense.
I believe in God, you believe in God, but
yeah,
there are a lot of people that may think God may be an extraterrestrial. So
I know.
What do we, how do we handle that?
Well, people can believe what they want. I think, who was it? R.L. Dion, who wrote a book way back in the 60s or 70s, the God Drive a Flying Saucer. I would say that any God that we can imagine is not God, because in my mind, the finite can never really comprehend the infinite. And in a way, it reduces God to just something, that we can kind of put our fingers on. And I think that we need to be able to live with mystery. I don't look at God as an anthropomorphic being, a man or woman, or with a body and that kind of thing. I look at And there are many words to describe it, but more as an energy, an intelligence, but not something that's outside of me only, but that is inside of me as well. And I think that's the problem that we have. Organized religion and disorganized religion has kind of made God this, you have to have a priesthood to help you connect. You have to believe that bow a certain way. You have to follow these creeds. And for some people, that works. But any God that you can imagine is really not God because it's much, 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 much more than we can ever probably comprehend.
We are with the Reverend Michael J.S. Carter. His latest book is called Initiation, and it's an amazing experience all by itself. In these situations that are occurring with individuals disappearing off the planet, there are thousands of people every year, Michael, that disappear. Nobody knows where they are. Could they be taken?
I believe so. I believe we just talked about mystery. On one hand, I don't know, but what we know about this phenomenon, George, is the more we think we know, the more we don't know, and that all things are on the table. I know kids missing every year. We still don't know what happened to some these people. There's a couple airlines, maybe more than a couple, whether it's in the Bermuda Triangle or, these disappearances. There's no other explanation. And so, earthly explanation, I'll put it that way, and I think we need to be open to, and I think we will going forward, that the reality that we dwell in is just the tip of the iceberg, and that there are other dimensions, and that there are things that are just not comprehensible for us at the time. But I think very much so that people could be taken.
Absolutely.
Let me share something with you really quickly.
Sure.
And I'll give you an example. This is weird, but the whole thing is weird. Now, my daughter's 15, so I want to respect her privacy, but a year ago, my daughter stays here with me. I have a small 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. I'm a good co-parent with her mom. And so I see my daughter once a week and on every other weekend. And so one evening, I got up that morning, and I asked my daughter how was her, did she sleep well? And she said, of course, Daddy. She said, where did you go last night?
Oh, boy.
I said, what are you talking about? And she said, I looked in the apartment, you were here. I said, what time were you talking? She said, about 3. She said, I went to go to the bathroom now. My bedroom is right next to her. And she said, I looked in your room, your bed, the blankets were pulled back really neatly, and I looked in the house and you were gone.
Wow.
She said, I said, Kevin, I would never leave you here by yourself to go anywhere, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. And she said, well, it was just strange. She said, but, there was a full moon, and I saw the light shining in the living room and in your bedroom. And I said, Kevin,
oh, my God.
There was no full moon last night.
There was a craft. She was looking at a craft.
Yeah, and she said, well, I guess maybe your friends came.
She's aware of your situation, right?
Yes. I told her when she was very young, and her mom used to get very angry with me because, she's, I can't get into too much, but Kevin has had her own experiences, and, her mom would get mad at me, like, you need to tell them, and what do they, this is our child? And I said, I don't have any control over that, and maybe you want to turn it down a little bit. What style is that? But she's since, kind of chilled out on that. But my thinking is I have no recollection of not being in this apartment. And my daughter would not lie about that.
She's either dreaming or something really happened to you.
She said she got up and went to the bathroom, and my bedroom's right next to her, and she said, and what got me though was the full moon. She said there was a light shining in the apartment, in your bedroom and in the living room, and she said, it was a full moon, and there was no full moon at night. Because I look out there for stuff.
is happening to people, Michael, and it's happening in record numbers.
Yeah.
What do you think they are doing with us?
Well, I think some of them are doing is trying to raise our awareness and our consciousness. To me, it's a fancy word for awareness.
With the abducted ones or with us?
Well, I think with the people who have been abducted, if we're going to use that word, and have had not the greatest experiences, because remember, there are many different beings who are visiting. And I don't believe that all of them have the same agenda. I mean, I love my brother Stephen Greer, but I can't say that everyone who comes here wants to sing Kumbaya. Yeah, some people may be coming on just a mission, ag 'em and bag 'em, that kind of thing. But I feel that those of us who have, like I said, looked at this as a positive experience and have come out into the world and have said, look, we need to start really looking at what we're doing to the planet, what we're doing to each other, and because, this has been going on since George Adamski, whether you think he's a fraud or whatever, this message has been coming since the beginning of time.
Hold on, Michael, we're at a break. We'll come back and talk more as we get into your work initiation. We'll take calls with Michael Carter next hour here on Coast to Coast AM.
Feeling lost? Not close to your radio? Grab your smartphone or computer and listen to iHeartRadio. Pick up the free iHeartRadio apps in the App Store or go to iHeartRadio.com.
Alisol Fire and the Music Festival mandate. I'm Johnny D'Agostini in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The Alisol Fire near Santa Barbara is exploding quickly, prompting road closures, evacuations, and warnings. The fire erupted Monday afternoon near the Alisol Reservoir and has scorched over 13,000 acres. Andrew Madsen with the Los Padres National Forest says strong winds are making containment challenging.
The main firefight is up on top, near the top of Refugio. We're dealing with this area that's got a lot of receptive, dead and decadent fuel beds that haven't burned in 60 years or more.
A major concern is evacuating nearby animals.
This is a fairly sparsely populated area. There's a lot of ranches. There's a lot of grazing that goes on with livestock and sheep and alpacas.
The flames are threatening hundreds of structures. No containment has been reached, and the cause of the fire is under investigation. Coachella and Stagecoach music festivals are reversing course and will not require attendees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Their previous policy required full vaccination before attending the festivals in Southern California. But now officials are saying proof of a recent negative COVID test will suffice. Both music festivals are set to return to the Polo Fields in Indio in April and May of next year. Michael Jordan says he has no problem with the NBA's rules on coronavirus protocols and vaccines for players.
Not at all. I am in unison with league, and I'm a firm believer in science, and hopefully everybody abides by whatever the league sets the rules.
The Hall of Famer and Charlotte Hornets owner made the comment Monday on NBC's Today Show. This comes as some players have pushed back against vaccination requirements and could be forced to miss games in cities where vaccinations are required for large public gatherings. South End weather from KFI, sunny skies today. High 60s, low 70s at the beaches, mid-70s in Metro LA, high 70s in the Valley, and mid-70s in the Inland Empire. It's 55 degrees in Anaheim, 51 in Simi Valley, 56 degrees in Van Nuys. We did local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Johnny D'Agostini.
In South El Monte, getting reports of a new crash on the 60 west of Peck Road. It's an accident that the two left lanes blocked. In Carson, good news on the 110 north at Torrance Boulevard. That's an earlier accident that was cleared from lane. All lanes are now open. Down 85 south of the 605. That's a vehicle on the side block of the Trans Road. In near Loma on the 15th stop between Lima Ninth Avenue and 6th Street. That's a work zone that the right lane closed until 6 a.m. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Zachary Kagan.
The Delta variant is making COVID-19 spread faster and more easily. Variants can be more contagious, aggressive, and deadly. But we know vaccines work. Vaccinated Californians have greater protection against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. We can help stop the spread and end this pandemic. Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Find a vaccine near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
And AMCO offers payment plan options for almost any credit situation. So it's easier than ever to fix it fast and pay it off slow. That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Whoa, you've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the smell good plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unspout my drain?
$99.
But you haven't seen it.
Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stoppage. The smell good plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you're like up front and everything. I just called a guy named Bubba who wouldn't tell me anything.
No Bubba's here, ma'am. Just professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99.
Call us, 1-800-446-MIKE. Contact your license number, 39917.
KFI, AM 640.
If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
You're hearing Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, live from somewhere deep below the earth on Premier Networks.
What a neat song, huh? ParanormalDate.com keeps cruising along, 593 people to go, and we hit 118,000. My goal is 120,000 by Christmas. ParanormalDate.com, free to sign up, and if you're over 60, what do we have?
Well, sometimes your heart desires a person who's a bit more mature, and we've got you covered there, too. We have ParanormalDate.com/seniors for those who are 60 plus. So check it out and have some fun. Seniors 60 plus are waiting for you. ParanormalDate.com/seniors.
At ParanormalDate.com, you meet the most fantastic people.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. What brings you here?
Yeah, I'm here to meet someone who understands me.
How so?
Well, I'm into UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, the paranormal, that kind of stuff. But can't seem to find anyone who gets it.
Oh, nice to meet you, Tom. I gotta go.
Okay, guess that's not your cup of tea. You sure?
Very. Good luck with that.
I can't meet anyone when I'm out, and I really can't find a website for my unique interests. What does one do?
Have you thought about ParanormalDate.com?
What? Who are you?
I'm a paranormal matchmaker, and it's ParanormalDate.com. It's a website for people looking for people like them. Stuff you like, remember?
Interesting. I'll give it a try.
Well, let's try this again.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Deb. Your profile on paranormaldate.com looks very interesting. So you really saw a UFO?
Well, yeah, it was so intense, but not as intense as meeting you.
You're an alien chasing flirt, but I kind of like it.
Wow, this paranormaldate.com thing really works.
Maybe ParanormalDate.com is for you. People with an interest in things they hear on George's show find their match daily. So if you're looking for that special someone with an interest in UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, and of course, the paranormal, come to the dating site inspired by George Norrie. It's always free to search, and if you decide to upgrade to our amazing new features, use promo code GEORGE for a great discount. ParanormalDate.com. You are not alone.
We've got a great healing story. Carnivore now. One of those botanicals that is so absolutely so amazing. David, you're a guy that has overcome severe issues.
The light bulb went on, and I started to research. I found out it saved Ronald Reagan's life. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that is bringing me back, and it's been almost 8 years now.
How did you take it? Did you take the liquid? Did you take the capsule?
I was going through the capsules like I couldn't get enough. It made me feel so much better.
How soon after you began taking the capsules, you kind of felt this was going to be a good thing?
6 months, 8 months. I can only tell you one thing. The product works. And it not only works in one way, it works in a whole bunch of different ways because it gives me energy, it gives me vitality, it's giving me my health.
Did you have tests to validate it? And if so, did you then have tests afterwards for the doctors to give you a clean bill?
I am just a better way. Kind of where I have built everything back into my body. It's taken a while, but you know what? It's back there and I feel it. I can't say enough.
George here. You heard it here first, folks. Many more to come. Call 1-866-836-8735. That's 1-866-836-8735. Or visit carnivora.com. That's carnivora.com. Call now.
Sometimes the world can seem a cold place, so we gotta bring the warmth to it. Sometimes the world can seem a broken place, so we gotta strive to fix it. At the end of the day, we are empowered to create the world we want to live in. So we prepare for the worst, but we must always, always expect the best. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans.
Welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you, along with Reverend Michael Carter with his latest book, Initiation. His website is his name, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Let's get into the book a little deeper here, Michael. The subtitle is important as well as Initiation, the spiritual transformation of the experiencer, a guide for contact experiencers. Tell me about that.
Well, it probably goes back, George, way before I even wrote this book. When I first started having my experiences, I was living in Manhattan, and I was very fortunate to find a support group, and as I said, I met Dr. Gene Mundy, the late Dr. Gene Mundy, and the late Bud Hopkins. But there was a division in the community at that time because there was one side, which is probably more John Mack's perspective. People would have these experiences, but it came out, it come out as transformational and a deepened kind of spirituality and connection. And then there was Bud's group at the time, and most of those folks had had traumatic experiences, anal probes, sperm and ovum taken. I mean, just traumatic kind of experiences. And once in a while, the two groups would get together. I was in a group called SPACE, S-P-A-C-E. I forget what the acronym stands for now. But most of it was run by a guy named, who's still around, a good guy. And we would get together, maybe once, twice a year, but there was still that division. And so I noticed, though, that, you know, there's a lot of fear mongering and, I guess stereotyping in a way about what these visitors were doing. And I was coming from the other side of the spectrum, that, yes, those things do happen, unfortunately. Fortunately, they haven't happened to me or many people I know. And so I wanted people to say, listen, there's another side to this story. And we don't want to have this kind of intergalactic stereotyping or what have you. There are some people who their experiences have been transformational. They're out in the world trying to raise the frequency, raise the vibration. They're evolving. And those stories need to be heard too. And that's where the title came from. That there is a spiritual transformation. People like Ray Hernandez with there's a group on Facebook called Beyond Being Human. They're not denying that these other stories, but they are saying, but there's another part to this, and that needs to be acknowledged, and there is a transformational aspect to this if you're open to it. And so that's where I kind of hung my hat, because that's what happened to me. The same things that happened to me, yeah, definitely. But the overall kind of perspective that I had was that my life had changed, I had changed, and I became a better person for it. And I had to go through some changes, but that's what happens when you grow. That's what happens when you evolve. It's not always going to be comfortable.
Have your experiences, Michael, helped or hurt your theology?
Well, they changed it. Now, let me be clear. You know, when I was leaving the Baptist tradition of my childhood, it was hard because I was trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Sure, but that was your choice, right?
That was my choice. So I was already on that path before my experiences. I started reading existential philosophy, you know, Sartre and Camus, and, you know, I was expanding. I was growing because I knew people who were atheists, who maybe were a different religion, and it was hard for me to say that because you didn't believe the same way I believed, that you were going to be barbecued for eternity in a hell. And I started just asking questions. What, if this is love, does love really do that? And I got, you know, even my brother back. You don't feel God to be warm inside. And maybe that's true, but the point is that it just seemed like a contradiction that I couldn't wrap my mind around. And then I had these experiences. My first one, December 28th, 1989. And yes, I went to, you know, therapists and that kind of thing. And I was afraid. And it took me, I mean, to be honest with you, boys, I'll be 65 years old in July, and there are times when I still maintain the